Welcome to Laundromat Life. So you want to own a laundromat? I doubt it. I doubt anyone watching this actually wants to own a laundromat, but you might have thought about it. So here's the deal. I bought this laundromat 2 years ago, and it's full of machines, which I got a great deal on, which means they need a lot more service than new machines, which means I saved $250,000 in machines. That just means I got to do a lot more maintenance from time to time. So when I was working on that last Erskine house, I neglected this laundromat and my other laundromat because I would only fix the easy things and then get back to work on that house. Like we did it in 3 weeks. It was a busy 3 weeks. But now, before I start on my next project, I need to fix all the machines here and at the other laundromat. So today, I wanted to show you guys what happens when you get an error 15 on a WCV 40-pound Dexter washer. So these are pretty old. I'd say they're about 20 years old. Nowadays, everything is, well, they started with the WCN series, this is Dexter, then a WCV, WCAB, and now we're on C. So these ones are, I want to say these are actually digital now. My older ones are mechanical. This one is digital. And let me just show you. So this one has a drain issue. That's a simple fix. We just pull that panel off and figure out where the leak is. This one has the belt issue. Now this one manifested as an error 15, F15, and that means that, and I had to look in the manual for this obviously, that the motor is reporting not enough or too much voltage, which means, these are things you have to know as a laundromat owner, right? You have to be able to troubleshoot electronics and machines, and I knew that the machine doesn't actually know what the voltage is. It probably was working too hard or not hard enough, which means it was either underloaded or overloaded. And then I thought there was nothing big in the machine when it went down. So I thought to myself, it's probably a bad belt. I know those machines had multiple belts, and I thought, let's check that first. So I jumped on the machine, pulled the top off, sure enough, broken belt. So I do have replacement belts in stock. And that is what we got to do first. So this is one way to see the belts. You can see that one of the belts is just kind of on the ground right there. See it right there? Kind of to the right. Yeah, so you can also see it from the top, which is how I originally noticed it. But you'll notice I can't reach the belt here. And the problem is when you install these machines, the manufacturer says leave a 24-inch space behind them to access them. Well, when the previous owner installed them, he had, oops, sorry, camera. He had this to work with. Now, this wasn't the original layout, so now this is our working space. We have to pull the tops off and get behind there, which means we have to go under those machines. And of course somebody's using them. The only way to get to it is to yank those machines out. I can get that one there, but we'll see what happens. So there it is. Kind of plain as day. I don't know if you can see that belt down there, but it just fell off, and it's the motor and the pulley it's a double belted system. How cool would it be if I could just grab a hold of that belt and pop it back on? That would be lucky. Let's try that first. Okay, well, great news. I got the belt back on without any huss or fuss or whatever you want to say. And the belt didn't break, which is awesome because you have to thread it around the outside. But the reason the belt came off is going to be the same reason it comes off again in the future. This is the second time this machine style has done this before, and I think what the issue is you see that spring way down there? There's a spring right there. And I think it's so loose. See, what that does is that pulls the motor down and puts tension on the belts. I think I need to tighten up that nut right there and pull a little more tension so the angle on the drive is not so inverted. And you can see that is not exactly something that's going to be easy to do. I can't reach it from the front. Might be able to reach it from the back, but I got to pull this washer out to do it. My favorite thing, I don't know if it's my favorite thing, but whenever you're done working on a machine and you solve the problem, that's what this is. This is problem solving every day. Similar problems, but new problems. So it's kind of like puzzle solving. It's kind of like my favorite thing. If you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a big picture guy and I like puzzles. So whenever I solve an issue, I get to pull the red tape off, put this baby back in service. I gotta flip the breakers real quick. Back in business. So this was reported as a drain leak, but there doesn't seem to be any recent water, and I know it's been like this for 4 days, but there should be some remnants of moisture in the concrete, but I'm just not seeing it. So that's our drain there. Connects up there. I don't know how well you can see that, but you can kind of see there's the main drain hole right there. And it literally just feeds down into a valve that's always open. And then when the valve gets power, when the machine's running, it has a little shutter that closes it so water stays in so it can wash and whatnot. But its default position is open. So when its machine is off, it lets all the water out. So if I just add water to it, ideally the leak would be right there. So let's see what happens. No leak. No leak at all. Nothing to see. All right, what that tells me is that this machine never had a drain leak. It did have a drain leak like the day before the air was put on it. That's why I thought maybe I did a bad repair in a rush. But it turns out these machines have this rubber gasket, and this is what seals the glass to this barrel. Now this is a static part, it doesn't move. This does. So obviously it can't seal to that, it has to seal to this. So this gasket has to seal here. And all it takes is dirty clothes. See this right here? There should never be anything here unless this seal's no good. Now you can tell the gasket's fine. The problem is that, see this hair? That hair right there, this clump of hair here, any type of dirt and residue that builds up can cause a bad seal, and if there's 3 inches of water on it, it will leak out. And that's what happened. So now I just get to clean the gasket up and pull the tape. And I'll check it, make sure it doesn't leak when it runs. It won't, but I'll make sure. Glass cleaner. So now we just got to run the machines, make sure there's no issues. While we're doing that, we'll go work on some dryers. But I just wanted to point out pay range. Check this out. Any old coin machine can now be hooked up to Bluetooth. Choose your machine, swipe to pay. Look at that. It enters the quarters digitally. So cool. Best thing ever. Anyone with a coin-operated business can have pay range like $20, $30 per dongle per machine, and they take 3%. It's a game changer. As far as laundromats are concerned, our biggest problem is coin jams. It pisses customers off, makes us do a lot of coming back and forth to the laundromat, so pay range has really added something awesome to innovation. If they're publicly traded, let me know. I want to invest in this company. Our next order of business is a dryer. It says, oh, quarter jam. My attendant was nice enough to write down what the issue was. So let's see if she's right. it's not actually a quarter jam. What it is the coin mech is missing the set screw that holds it in place so that the quarters can enter. So we just need to put a new screw in there, tighten it up, and that's just something that happens from wear and tear when people are slamming this button. So easy enough fix. All right, so here's the screws we have to make this work again. It just fell down right in the tray, so I was able to find them. Wasn't an issue with the screws. It is just a matter of vibration and wear and tear. So what we're gonna use is some thread locker, if I can find it, to kind of put a little bit of wax on it. And that way, with this tension spring and the thread locker, has a higher chance of staying in a bit longer. So, let's find it. Show you guys a little something. This is what happens when you forget to flip the breaker and accidentally touch a wire and ground it out. Okay, so we're back in business, but our quarter mech is not great. We're just gonna get in there, tinker with it a little bit, clean it up, and then make sure it works a little better before we put this one back in service. These two sometimes ignites. This one never ignites. So what usually that is usually that is the thermos. What is it? The gas controller, the gas valve. And usually what the issue is here is either the gasket inside of it is clogged up, or the over temp or high temps need to be replaced because they're not getting continuity. And that's just, they go bad over time. So I have replacement parts for those, but before I do anything on dryers, I call Dexter when they're open for tech support. I just call them, tell them what my issue is, tell them what I think my solution is, and they'll usually give me a couple more great ideas that ends up saving me hours of labor and headache. So that's the great thing about buying American-made stuff, is it's easy to get English support or tech support, which is nothing to scoff at when you have a laundromat. Because at the end of the day, you know, we'll talk about the laundromat in the future, but everyone thinks laundromats just print money. But the truth is they're really expensive to start up. You really want to own the land. If you don't own the land and you have a small town like me, you're in trouble. So we have a population of 4,000, not 14 million. And it makes money, right? It's for every dollar that comes in, a percentage of that goes to utilities. So if it gets used a lot, more money in your pocket. Gets used less money in your pocket. But ultimately, it should pay for itself if you're not paying rent because you own the land. I do own the land, but I've got loans on it. So the laundromat for now is hopefully a 5-year investment. That's my plan on everything up here. And we're on track for that. So we're kind of working for free until then. But that's kind of the ins and outs of the easy problems. The major problems, I'll do more videos on those in the future. But thought I'd give you guys a little taste of the laundromat life. If you buy a laundromat like this, expect to do jobs like this. I would say 1 to 2 hours a week minimum, plus being on call and pulling the money every night and dealing with customers who are upset. It's just part of the job. So you got to have customer service skills, tech support skills, plumbing skills, electrical skills, and really a willingness to do the work and solve the puzzles. You got to treat it like every single one is a new puzzle, even though a lot of the problems are similar. That's the job. I mean, it's the illusion and the joy of owning a small business goes away after 3 to 6 months, and then it's just back to work. And if you're like me and you're not making any money on it, and you got to wait a couple more years to make money on it, you better enjoy something. And that's, I guess, the puzzles. That's what we'll go with. All right, we'll see you guys on the next exciting adventure of Laundromat Life. All right.